Good evening, and welcome to Cocktails in Literature. My name is Justin, and tonight we're going to discuss the book that defined the lost generation, Ernest Hemingway's The Sun Also Rises, published in 1926. Now, there's a plethora of drinking going on in this book, but for tonight's purposes, we're only going to focus on the Jack Rose because it's mentioned twice in the novel. Once in chapter 6, and then again in chapter 8. And before I read you excerpts from both of those chapters, a little background context about Jake Barnes, who is the main protagonist here in the book. He was an American journalist who was wounded in World War I, and he's madly in love with Brett Ashley. And unfortunately for Jake, Brett Ashley, well, she only loves him back sometimes. But in chapter 6, she stands Jake up, and then in chapter 8, Jake is with his friend Bill. So here we go, chapter 6. At 5 o'clock, I was in the Hotel Crillon, waiting for Brett. She was not there, so I sat down and wrote some letters. They were not very good letters, but I hoped their being on Crillon stationery would help them. Brett did not turn up, so about 5:45, I went down to the bar and had a Jack Rose with George, the barman. Brett had not been at the bar either. There's chapter 6, now chapter 8. We stopped and had a drink. Certainly like to drink, Bill said. You ought to try it sometimes, Jake. You're about 144 ahead of me. Ought not to daunt you. Never be daunted. Secret to my success. Never been daunted. Never be daunted in public. So where were you drinking? Stopped at the Crillon. George made me a couple of Jack Roses. George is a great man. Know the secret to his success? Never been daunted. You'll be daunted after about 3 more Pernots. Not in public. If I begin to feel daunted, I'll go off by myself. I'm like a cat that way. So the Jack Rose, mentioned twice. Also mentioned twice was George the barman. Apparently George the barman makes a hell of a Jack Rose. So here's to hoping that this evening I can do the man justice and make a great one for you as well. Jack Rose is a really simple cocktail. It's only 3 ingredients. An apple brandy. We're using Applejack by Laird's. The Laird's Applejack is the equivalent to the French counterpart Calvados, which, like I said, is an apple brandy. We're using Laird's for the really good reason of Laird's is the oldest licensed distillery in the United States. So this is the first ingredient and the main component, or the base, if you will. This is 1.5 ounces of the apple brandy. Next, to give it a little fresh zip, 1/2 ounce of fresh squeezed lime. And there we go. And then the final component is grenadine. Grenadine is a sweet, tart bar syrup made from pomegranate juice. We're using Jack Rudy, and we're using Jack Rudy for 2 reasons. 1, it's delicious. And 2, it's made right here in Charleston, South Carolina, where we film Cocktails in Literature. To balance out the fresh lime, it's also 1/2 ounce of the grenadine. Pour that all in my shaker over ice, and then we'll shake this. Go. So to recap, 1.5 ounces of apple brandy, be it Applejack or Calvados, 1/2 ounce of grenadine, 1/2 ounce of fresh squeezed lime. We're going to garnish it with some griots or brandied cherries. The Sun Also Rises. Read the novel, live the novel. Salam.